Good morning. This is Donna Beheit, and I am today talking to Janie Parish. She is the Executive Director for the Wadsworth Chamber of Commerce, and we are talking to Janie today about what she's seeing out in the business community and what's going on. So how are you? How are you and David doing?
We are doing great. Actually, we know that David and I both started our careers later, so we're going to be working for a long time. And so this has been the longest that we've been able to be together.
Really?
And David shaking his head, yes. And it's really been nice. We've been taking a lot of walks, going to a lot of different places, and we have our neighborhood walk, and and then we've gone to different parks. And the one that is really challenging is the one that is hooked onto the Blue Heron, and it's called Austin Badger Park or Badger Austin Park.
Yeah.
Holy tamale, that one. That one is a tough walk, but anyways, it's really been nice being together.
Good.
Yeah.
Very nice. Right.
Not that we haven't had a couple.
Oh, I know, right? I think everyone's relationships are getting to be interesting, or into an interesting phase of the relationship being together so much.
Right. Yeah. But no.
I.
I think if you asked David, he would tell you the same thing. We've enjoyed our walks and talks and being together.
Yes, it's been good. Now, what are you seeing out in the community for business? What are you hearing from manufacturers in our area? What are you hearing from the downtown, restaurants and bars? What's the mood in Wadsworth? What's going on?
Well, excuse me, Don. I jumped right in there because I'm excited to talk about it. I'm absolutely amazed at the Wadsworth community, how well we have pulled together to help each other. Yeah, I received an email maybe about 3 weeks ago from Daniel Slyfett, the director at the Wadsworth Public Library, that he and his staff really wanted to do something that could truly help the community, not just the businesses, but the entire community. So they put together a program called Wadsworth Knows How, and there's lots of pieces and parts to that, but you can go to the Wadsworth Library website and look that up. But this Wadsworth Knows How is truly amazing. They're asking for mentors that will check on other people, via if Facebook or phone calls, things like that, just so that they know that people are doing okay. And because this is a stressful time, there's no doubt about it.
People are scared, right? You've got the stress, you've got the people are afraid to go out. People are afraid, people are afraid, they don't know where the next paycheck's coming from, just a variety of fear out there.
Right. And I think, the news seems to be on all the time at our house right now. And, it's scary. You have to know these things. I think you have to know these things, but sometimes it's just too much. Oh. So another thing that the library is doing, which I thought was very cool, is they're doing community gardens. And so is that too cool or what?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, because I like that era in the 40s, and with World War II, and how, not the war part so much, but how the community pulled together too, and about the victory gardens. And so I really applaud the library for taking these steps. And they hooked up with the city and the schools and the chamber to help promote this and do what we can to help them. So some of the manufacturers are, going into this, we had a true issue with finding good employees, people that had sustainability, and then also that could pass a drug test was very important. So going into it, the manufacturers were behind the 8 ball anyway. And so it's been really tough, and for a lot of the manufacturers. But I think some of the manufacturers have really taken it upon themselves to figure out a whole different avenue of a way to go to keep their employees, because that's such an important thing. It's not only it's everything, I mean, you just can't live without money, and those employees, and I'm sure that most of our employers feel a sense of loyalty and responsibility to their employees. And so to figure out a way that they can make and manufacture different items to help with the whole coronavirus pandemic. I mean, it's just been really amazing when you read and you hear about different ways that people have figured out a way to help. I'm still amazed at Cleveland Whiskey, who his entrepreneur, spirit is amazing. And so,
Who knew? Hand sanitizer.
Right, to take whiskey to hand sanitizer. I like it. Yeah. So, but I think our businesses are doing everything that they possibly can to stay afloat. And it's a tough time. I mean, it's just to go from, where you're on your daily routine, making money and paying for your employees and everything that goes with it. And then one day you're done.
You're done. So, I know. It happens so fast.
I know, because before this, and when we would hear of like a restaurant that closed and the employees would come into work and the doors were locked, and you'd think, oh my gosh, well, that's exactly what happened to the employers, with all of the shutdowns. They just had absolutely no clue. So we're encouraging people to, well, of course, the Small Business Administration loans have been extremely helpful, but I know that the banks are inundated with people applying, and how do you do it? Because it's all new, know.
Well, and some of the banks aren't providing those loans either, though. It's like some of the credit unions, they don't have the funds to support those loans. I know this next bill that is in Washington at the House, they're talking about supporting those smaller community banks so they can help and get to the smaller, business owners who are frankly kind of being left behind a little bit here. Because some of these larger banks, if you weren't already a member and had business going with that bank, they're not taking you. They're only working with existing customers. So some of these smaller businesses who work with the credit unions, I think they're kind of in a tight spot at the moment.
Right. So we're encouraging our members. We have been sending out a list of all of the restaurants in Wadsworth, not even just chamber members, every food service in Wadsworth, and trying to give their hours information so that you can call in, because as my daughter says, she feels like all she does is make dinner and all the meals and then clean the kitchen. Yeah.
Right.
So I've heard from so many people that they had no clue how often they ate out until they couldn't.
Yeah. I know. Isn't that crazy? Yes. And I don't eat out that much. Really, I cook a lot at home, but you're right. The other night it was like, Brian, what are we ordering out? Because I'm tired of cooking and I'm tired of cleaning dishes.
Right. Yeah.
Let's eat something else.
Yeah. So we're encouraging people also not only to use those services that you can, pick up or have delivered, but then also that you, like the lady that does my hair, I've been sending her money for future appointments.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Yeah, because I know she still has her chair rental, fee. And I just think that she's been so good to me that I just think that if I can do something like that, then that might ease a little bit of a burden, from her.
That's a real good idea. I didn't think about that. And you can see the gray. I'm starting to,
yeah.
This is going to get bad in a week or two.
You know what? I had a dream last night that I got it cut in color, and I woke up. I'm like, oh no, it didn't happen.
I feel you. Oh my goodness. So yeah, this is going to be fun in a couple of weeks. But that's a really good idea. You think about the restaurants and the bars and those types of workers, but I didn't think to pay it forward with my hairdresser. That's a really good idea. Thank you.
Oh,
write
sure.
that one down.
So
Send
I
Allison lots of money. Oh, she's going to have some work to do when I get back there.
I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I told, I go to Kinsey at PH5 Salon in downtown Wadsworth. And I told her that when she opens for when my appointment comes, I'm going to camp out the night before. So I'm not late for my appointment. I'm going to camp right by your doorstep. Yeah. So I think we all feel like that. But the rough part is that none of us saw this coming as far as what was going to happen. There was no planning for it. And, a lot of times when you have to make a knee-jerk decision quickly, those aren't your best decisions, that you have to make. And that's what our employers and our residents were faced with is, these quick decisions and very important decisions as well.
Yes. I mean, and I think that this is going to really kind of reset how we look at a lot of things in our lives. I think it's going to reset how we do business, how we look at manufacturing and automation. And there's just, this is really and this is not anything that's going to be over real quick either.
Right.
This is something that's going to have some lasting effects.
I think for years.
For years.
And so it's really a tough time, but like there's been some bonuses, I don't know about the economically, there's not been bonuses, truly. Yeah. But I think for relationships and the community, there have been bonuses. So I think you have to look at it as it's a double-edged sword. And, people have talked about what's more important, the economy or your health. Well, if you don't have your health, the economy.
There's no economy.
Right. It doesn't make any difference. And so I know that our president's been really pushing about the economy, but the thing of it is that you have to have your health. And I had read in the Plain Dealer yesterday about the senator who's going to be the president of the Senate after President Larry Obhoff is completed his term, and he would like he's from Lima, Ohio, and he would like some of the rural businesses to open. And it just took my breath away to think, we just got to stop. There's just no other way. You just can't open a few businesses and think that it will be okay, because it won't be okay. It
won't be.
No, we just have to stop until this is over. Then I know I had read about how kids in the 50s during the polio pandemic as well, and they sat in their yards and talked to each other, because they weren't permitted to be close to each other. And and eventually polio, it took years, but it was eradicated. So I just feel like we just have to stop and let this pass as it's going to, because we will get over it. Yeah.
I think the fastest way to reopen the economy would be to get mass testing finished, right? To get mass testing done and to get a vaccine, and having either one of those is really going to speed up the recovery and getting us back, and getting us back out there and going.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Janie, thank you very much.
Sure.
It was a pleasure seeing you and talking to you. And
you too, Donna.
You take care, and you and David keep going out on those walks. And pretty soon it's going to be nice. I know it's rainy today, but it'll be nicer. And I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Okay, Donna, you take care.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.